Hey friends, Irene, Lyon here. I've got a short 5-minute clip, just over 5-minute clip for you here. It is me talking to Miles Irving of the WorldWild podcast. Miles and I had a chat in early June, and our long form chat is over 2.5 hours. I know it's a long one. I do recommend the entire chat because we cover a lot of really important topics. And what this small snippet is me diving into the kind of the myth that working at the nervous system level, working with the somatic system, is bottom up. Often you hear people say top down, bottom up. So in this short clip, I distinguish what those both mean and why we need to actually get away from that division and bring them all together. Enjoy.
There's a way that the higher brain thing is meant to be partnering with that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, this goes back to this concept of what's the potential for humans, right?
Yeah.
Where can we go? Like how evolved can we get? And I think what you just asked there about this distinction or this concept of this higher brain being connected. Again, this comes back down to how we separate things all the time. It's very reductionistic, very Cartesian, to break everything apart. And again, this is another misnomer with the work that I do, that Peter does, that Kathy does. People say, oh, well, all that somatic work, that's just bottom up. And all the psychology work is top down, meaning bottom up means you're feeling the body, and then that's informing the brain. And all the top down work, which is like the Freud and the Jungs and the psychology and the cognitive behavioral therapy, that's all working with the thoughts and then changing the system. And Peter will say, and I will say, that's not accurate. When we're working at the nervous system level, we have to bring in this higher brain. And I think that's where I have seen, at least, colleagues of mine and other forms of work lose some of the nuance of humanity, is that all they're caring about is the somatic release, the emotional release, the shaking to come out of the body. But they're failing, and I'll use that word because I've seen it as a failure in some of these methods, they're failing to teach the human slow enough to also watch how the thinking gets embedded in the body.
Yeah.
Because psychosomatic is a real thing. Like, a person can put themselves into a panic attack, which is physiological, by thinking about something that they don't want to do, or thinking about a past event. And so that shows us that our mind, as we know, can influence the body. And so if we're working with the body, we also have to understand that the mind, or I often like to say the thinking, it also will pop up because we can't separate it. And so that's, I think, to go back to that point that you said, is like, how does that higher brain come in? And we have to just acknowledge it and know that it's there. I will never in any of my lessons or classes say to my students, try to calm the mind or try to empty the thoughts. That is just a recipe for disaster, because our brain is meant to create thoughts and memories and images. And if an image comes up, and by image I mean, seeing the color red, or a memory from the past, or whatever it is, if that spontaneously unfolds, to go back to that topic of unfolding, if it naturally blossoms out of the system, that's really important information for the human to take in and then track and follow, because it might lead us to an emotion that's been buried, or a memory that's been stored away, or that procedural memory that we didn't get to do when the soccer ball was coming to our head. But if we say to someone, okay, in this practice, you're just going to do this, and you're going to empty your mind, and you're just going to focus on your breath, we're too conditioned as humans, so this is again the higher brain thing, to follow instructions, right? School system did that to us. And so if we're following instructions like good little humans, when that natural impulse goes up, we will then create survival stress and a confusion, because some people will see that image or feel that thing, and they'll automatically go, oh, I shouldn't be feeling this. I shouldn't be seeing this. The teacher said I got to do this, do this, do this. And then they're into a somatic survival frenzy. Some people who have a little more space and are a little more maybe heretical will be like, okay, I'm in this meditation class, and all of a sudden I'm seeing this image. I'm just going to not listen to what the teacher's saying, and I'm going to follow this image and see where it goes. I tend to do that if I'm ever forced to do some kind of meditation at a conference, where they'll get everybody to meditate and close their eyes. And sometimes I might be okay doing that, and other times it's like, screw you, I don't want to do this. My system doesn't want to do this. And I'm just going to go into my own little world and feel what I'm feeling. But not everybody has that agency to choose a situation that their system is offering them, or an opportunity that their system is offering them. So I think that's where this is a fine line between, I hope you're seeing that this work that I am in love with and I like and see has worked. It's so much more than just working with the somatic system. It's listening to and learning and relearning how transitions occur in our body, how the somatic experiences arise, how the brain interrelates with this, and then how we interrelate with the environment, with others, et cetera, et cetera.